Hey guys, so in this episode I'll be talking about cardio. As much as this topic and this thing is very boring, I have to talk about it because I get many questions about the benefits of cardio and the different types of cardio you can do for health and for weight loss. So first of all, I spoke about this in the training myths video. You don't have to do cardio to lose weight. Cardio is just a tool to help increase the amount of calories you burn and help you increase your endurance and your cardiovascular health, which gives it the name cardio. It's an aerobic exercise, so it uses oxygen while the muscles are uh, making energy. Um, there are different types of cardio. The way to look at it is the amount of calories that are being burned, the amount of time you spend doing it, and the intensity, which is determined by your heart rate. So first things first, your maximum heart rate can be calculated by um, subtracting your age from 220, and that's very important when you're doing cardio to know what your maximum heart rate is, because the intensity is determined by the percentage of heart rate that you're following. So a high intensity cardio would be between 75 to 95% of your heart rate. A medium intensity would be between 55 to 75, and the low intensity is anything below 50, for example. An average session of of cardio, you burn around 50 calories a minute. So for like an hour, you do burn like 500 calories a minute. That's for a medium intensity cardio. For a high intensity cardio, you can burn up to um, 1.5 calories per second. So that would give you around 700 calories an hour, 800, even more. Depends on the amount of heart rate you're on. Low intensity cardio would burn around half a calorie per minute. So you could end up burning 300 calories an hour doing it. So that gives you another idea. So let's say an hour of walking is like half an hour of jogging, or like 15 minutes of sprinting. So that just to give you an idea of what I'm about to talk about in a bit. So there are different types of cardio. Anything cardio is defined as an exercise that uses many muscles in a repetitive movement and contractions to produce movement. So basically, you're using your legs in a repetitive flexion and extension to give you that running motion. Um, so it is an exercise after all. You are exercising the muscles that are doing the movement. That's another thing to look at. So even if you're bulking and you want to do cardio, cardio is not very bad if you're bulking, because it also can keep your endurance up. It can keep the strength of those muscles intact, and as long as you're still consuming more calories than you're burning, you will still gain weight. And on at the same time, if you're doing cardio and you're not consuming less calories than you need, you're not going to lose weight. So cardio again is just another tool. The different types of cardio depend on the intensity. So you have high intensity, you have low intensity, and you have medium intensity exercises. And then another thing that determines the time is the steadiness. So there's steady cardio and there's unsteady cardio. So steady cardio is the one where you don't change the intensity or the difficulty. So let's say you walk at level of 5 kilometers per hour for an hour. That's steady cardio. If you walk for 10 minutes at 5 kilometers, then you increase it to 10 kilometers, then that's unsteady cardio. So I hope that um, gives you an idea. Now, there are two most common types of cardio that people do for weight loss, and that is slow to medium, low to medium, um, intensity, slow, steady cardio, which means that you are at an intensity of say 50 to 70%, and you are doing it slow, so like walking, and it's steady. You're not changing the intensity. And there is medium to high intensity, unsteady cardio, where basically you stay at a bit higher heart rate and you change around in the difficulty to stay at a medium to high intensity level. So to keep your heart rate at between 70-ish percent. And also there is high intensity interval training, which is my favorite type of cardio, where basically you do 30 seconds or 1 minute of your maximum intensity, and that is say like sprinting, and followed by the same amount of time doing the least amount of effort. So what you do is you max out an effort for a certain amount of time, and then you balance it out by um, doing your least effort for that same amount of time. Now the benefit of high intensity intervals is that your body takes time to adapt to the change in training when it comes to your heart rate. So what happens is that you are say doing 30 seconds of a sprint at like 16 kilometers, and then um, oh wait, 16 miles, sorry. So what happens is that your heart rate goes up to say 180, and then when you're for 30 seconds you're just walking, your heart rate doesn't go much down. It stays up as long as that rest or low intensity period is not more than a minute. So it takes it about a minute for it to adjust to a lower heart rate. So what happens is that when you do high intensity intervals, so let's say you're doing 10 minutes of high intensity intervals, you'll be doing 5 minutes of sprinting and 5 minutes of walking, but you get the result of 10 minutes of sprinting because your heart rate stays up. So that's what I like about high intensity intervals, and I think they are the best thing you can use for losing weight, because I don't really enjoy cardio very much, and I don't like to stay staring at a wall for like half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour perhaps. So the best way to burn as many calories as possible in the shortest amount of time is very convenient to me. So that's something that is very personal, depends on every individual on their own. um, I find this to be more enjoyable, less time consuming, and you get the same benefit anyway. So that's what works for me. Also, high intensity intervals have the afterburn effect. So basically, because it's a very high intensity, the guy almost hit my car. Anyway, so because it's a high intensity exercise that uses lots of muscles, you burn more calories at rest after it for a period of like 48 hours. The best way to do cardio and to implement cardio in your regimen is to, like I said before, gradually increase the intensity or the time you do the cardio for. So let's say you're doing high intensity intervals. The best thing you can do is say do it twice a week, and then after a month of your weight loss program, do them 3 times a week. And instead of doing 10 minutes, now you do 15 minutes, so on and so forth. If you're doing slow, steady, low to medium intensity cardio, like walking uphill or incline walking, stationary bike, elliptical trainer, I would consider rowing machine as probably medium to high intensity. So, and Stairmaster as well, medium to high intensity. If you're doing the low to medium intensity, then what you can do is, say you're doing incline for half an hour at like an incline of 5 degrees. Now you can increase it to 10 degrees and level 10, and do it for 45 an hour, minutes an hour. You get the point. Keep on gradually increasing, and do something that's not boring, and whatever you do to reach your results, then stick to it. If it works for you, that's perfect.